Hey everyone, welcome back to the Twala Bears. You know, when I lived in Hawaii before I moved to the Philippines, I made about $70,000 a year annually. And I thought that was pretty good for a single guy. Um, wasn't married, but when I finally retired and I moved here to the Philippines, my annual income went from $70,000 to $22,000. You're telling me, how could I survive with that amount of money? I think that's poverty level in the in America, right? 22,000. Yeah, I think I seen 15,000 was the single poverty level for a single person, and it was like I can't remember for a family of four. I think it was 25 or 35,000. But I am making $22,000 a year annually, and I was making 70K in America, and I was not able on $70,000 a year. I was not able to save maybe $200 a month. Could be maybe me bad money management. Call it what it is, but I'm gonna break down why I think why I was not able to save that kind of money, and why is it now I'm making $22,000 a year, and I'm able to save $900 per month. Now, if you guys are expats, you're living here in the Philippines, and you're making big money. I met a expat last week, a few weeks ago, and we were sitting in the mall talking, and he made 4,000 USD a month, and he that was just his work retirement pay, and he was giving his Social Security, which was 600, to his girlfriend. So yeah, if you're making big money, this video is probably not for you if you're living here in the Philippines and you're expat. So you could scroll to the next movie, or if you want, if you're interested, you can listen. But for those people who are thinking about retiring to the Philippines, and you think that you can't survive here, you cannot save money, I'm going to tell you that's a fallacy. You can live here on minimal money and be able to save. Like I said, I made 70K in America, been only able to save 200. Moved here to the Philippines, 22K annually, able to save 900. Let me tell you why I think. Okay, so by the way, as today, September 11th, it is the rate, the peso to dollar rate right now is 57. So I'm going to base everything on 57 pesos to the dollar. Okay, so let's talk about it. My U.S. expenses. Okay, and I believe this is what caused me not able to save money in America. So here we go. Of course, we all know Uncle Sam's going to get their cut, right? You got taxes, right? You're going to pay federal, state, Social Security, you name it. After that, after Uncle Sam takes their chunk, you're going to have to pay rent or mortgage. Now, I lived in Hawaii on the island of Oahu, and I had a really nice apartment on the 32nd floor. It was a 32nd floor high rise overlooking Diamond Head and overlooking Waikiki. I had a really nice apartment, and I was paying $2,600 rent. Okay, so that's pretty expensive. Um, so depending on your mortgage, sometimes there's a husband and wife, they have to work and pay that mortgage. It gets expensive rent, especially now. I'm seeing a lot of videos in America where expensive rent is just too much that people are actually living in their cars. So rent is expensive, right? Utilities, electricity, water, that adds up, right? So depending if you're running that aircon a lot in America, it can get expensive. Cable TV, everybody and their mother is going to have cable TV. And if you want the premium channels, some people like that HBO, Showtime, and some of these other premium services, it's going to cost you extra, right? So cable TV is another expense that you're going to have. I had the basic cable TV. I didn't have any of the other frills. Your phone plan. Oh my God. I know in America, the phone plans are crazy, right? I seen phone. I think my at the time when I left, and this is a long time ago in 2015. I think my phone plan was like $150 a month. But I've seen some phone plans are like 200 and upwards $300 a month for a phone plan, depending if it's just for yourself or you have a family plan. So phone plans can get expensive in America. Gas. If you guys are traveling to and from work, just because we were living in Hawaii, man, the commute going from downtown to the other side of the island to Eva Beach side, it could get expensive, man. You're just sitting there, just like any other big city you live in. The traffic can get really bad, and you're sitting there and just wasting gas. Gas, especially now, gas is expensive, right? So that's another expense. Food, eating out. I was a surgical technician working long hours sometimes in the operating room. So when I get out of work, a lot of times, and this happens with a lot of Americans, we work these long hours and we're just so tired, we don't even feel like cooking. So what do we do? I would say there are a lot of families in America who just eat out, right? So they're not going to sit there cooking a nice, beautiful meal that takes you about an hour to prepare. You're just probably going to stop by and get some takeout. Going to go get fast food, something quick. And I did that a lot. As a single guy, I didn't cook very much. I had some food in the refrigerator to cook, but most of the time I ate out, and that can get expensive, especially in Hawaii. And then you have your what I like to call my wife's. I got this coinage from my wife. She gave me these words. She called it guilty pleasures. We all have these guilty pleasures where we want to go to Starbucks, right? We want a coffee, hang out with the friends, right? And those coffees are expensive, right? $5 just for like a basic mocha or something like that. That could get expensive. I remember my boss at the time. She used to buy a Starbucks before she came to work every day. Every day she had a Starbucks, and she bought Starbucks so much that they gave her, I guess, this black card from Starbucks that gave her like benefits, but then it was pretty much that she was buying a Starbucks, and then she realized that she couldn't do that anymore because it was getting expensive. Just do the math: $5 a day, every day of the week, probably except for the weekends, and maybe in the weekends. Do the math. That could get expensive, right? So, expenses in the U.S. Car payment. Man, I had a nice SUV when I was there. Of course, the car payment, I remember, was something above $500. It was a nice SUV, paid around 30, 35,000 for the SUV. And that's probably most households, right? Everybody has the SUV or the nice car. Car insurance, it's probably almost, if you have a newer car, it's usually probably full coverage, and it's probably almost as much as your car payment. It can get expensive, right? Okay. Medical insurance. Of course, everybody has medical insurance. That's probably sometimes you can get it through your job, or you have to go somewhere else to get it, but that could get expensive too. Just take off some more of your income right there. Credit card payments. Debt can kill you in America, and that's what I believe is what's killing Americans and what's killing other places of the world is that people have debt. They have credit card debt. How many of you have usually go on a vacation once a year and you take a vacation? And what do? Normally you put that vacation on your credit card, right? And then eventually through the year, you pay down that credit card to get it manageable. And that's usually a lot of times when we use our credit card. So you're going to have some sort of debt, credit card debt. You buy clothes or something, you're going to use your credit card. So usually we carry some sort of debt in America. And so I said all that just to say that expenses can get tight. So my 70K that I was making that I thought was not quite as good as some of your guys' paychecks. I know I have some friends that make a whole lot more than what I did. But when you think about it, how much are they spending for their toys and their bigger mortgages with a better house, right? So I was making 70K and I thought, man, if I can't survive off of 70K, and then when I finally, after every month, I look at my expenses and I'm like, man, all I can save is like $200, 300 at most, maybe, um, because all I could do is actually, well, all I did was nothing, right? You couldn't go out, really have a good time with friends. You couldn't really buy anything because if you really wanted to save that $200-300, you really had to squeeze out and cut corners somewhere and not indulge in anything because you wanted to save that $200 to $300. And that's how my situation was with making 70K a year. So fast forward, here I am in the Philippines. You want to know? Here's my expenses, right? So you're saying, how, Andrew? How are you only making $22,000 and you're saving $900? You're bullshitting. No, I'll tell you why. Here you go. My 4 biggest expenses here in the Philippines. You want to know? Here you go. I'll tell you my 4 biggest expenses. 4, don't forget my wife and my daughter. 3 adults here. My biggest expenses here. Rent. How much I pay for rent? Based on what I told you, the peso to dollar rate today is 57.14 as of today, 9/11/2025. I broke it down into dollars. My rent here in the Philippines, $175. Yeah. I was paying 2,600 in Hawaii. And now I'm here in the Philippines paying $175 for a 2-bedroom, pretty decent apartment, 1 bath, uh, a, a car garage, so I could put my brand new car in there. $175. Okay, here's the second of 4 bills that I have here that is expensive. Electricity. Depending on if I run the aircon a lot or not, I could save money in there if I wanted to. If I didn't want to run the aircon, I don't have to run the aircon. My wife and my daughter, they prefer no aircon. They're happy with the kind of Filipino heat that's here. I'm not, man. I like to have aircon. So that runs me electricity on average. It could be either less or more than what I'm paying here. But on average, I pay about $175, which is the same amount as my rent. That's how expensive electricity is. So after that, the third biggest expense I have here is food. Of course, there are 3 adults here, and we pay $350, which is around currently 20,000 pesos here in the Philippines, which comes out to $350 USD. So we are spending $350, and mind you, I don't think we spend all that $350. I know for a fact we don't, because I'll tell you why in a second. So my last and final expense here in the Philippines is internet. That runs me 2,899 pesos to be exact, but we just say $60. It's about 3,000 pesos, which comes out to about $60. All in all, the total cost of our biggest expenses is $760. Not even $1,000. And just think, even some of the money that we put into, per se, electricity, I could actually get that bill down to probably half of that if I wanted to. If I didn't run the aircon, I could get it down to half, which means I could actually get more savings out of there. Food, I know for a fact we're not spending $350 on food. We're not, and we don't suffer for food. We're always buying mangoes. We're always buying bananas, vegetables. We're buying meats, all the meats. So we're not hurting for food, and there's still money left over at the end of the month. So yes, I am saving on average about 900 US dollars per month. And so there you go. So isn't it crazy that I came from the US making 70K a year, not able to save $100 to $200, but I come here to the Philippines only making 22,000 annually, and I'm able to save $900 a month. And we're not suffering either. You know, we're living in a box doing nothing. No, we go out, we drive places, we go to the beach, we go to different places here. And so it is so nice to live here in the Philippines, able to save so much money. And it's just crazy. I don't know how that is possible. You know, somebody in the comments, please let me know, how is it possible that I could just live on my retirement check and save that amount of money? And worked for 70K in the US, and I couldn't even save $200 to my name as a single guy. So that's all I have for you guys today. Just wanted to show you guys a little bit how you can save here in the Philippines on just such a small amount retirement. Now, there are a few guys here that are retired that are making big kinds of retirement money. They're making 4, 5, 6,000. I saw this one video. I don't know if it's true, but a guy said he was making $8,000 USD a month. Well, if you're making that kind of money, then you're beyond any advice anybody can give you. But if you're an average guy like me, of course, you're wanting to know if you're getting close to retirement, and you want to know if you can stretch your retirement here in the Philippines. And so, you know what? Another thing, real quick before I go, because I don't want to drag out this video, but I want to say this: there's so many expats that are out there saying that you cannot survive. And I hate that word, survive. You cannot enjoy retirement here on the kind of money that maybe I'm making. And they may laugh. They may say, "That's all you make? Really? That's all you're doing over there in the Philippines? That's all you make?" I don't care what you think. This is how I live, and this is how I enjoy life. Life is good here in the Philippines for myself and my family. We're not hurting. We're getting ready to buy a house here pretty soon. So if you get thinking we're hurting, we're not hurting. But what I'm saying is that you can stretch your retirement money here in the Philippines. Don't get scared, because most people think different culture, I can't survive there. It's not America. Well, you have to change. You have to change your mentality when you come to a different country. And you will be fine. Filipinos are some of the greatest people. I'm half Filipino, man. We're great people. You know, the Filipino culture is amazing here. The people are great. Most of them speak English here. You'll have no problem fitting in here in the Philippines. So if you're looking forward to retirement soon, or if you're looking here, if you're one of those digital nomads, maybe one of those guys who's an internet genius and you're making your money online, if you want to live here in the Philippines, you're a young guy, you can do it. You can make it happen on just a small amount of money. I'm just giving you an example of what my life is like, what I get paid, and how much it costs to live here, and how much, the biggest thing is how much you can save. You can save a whole lot of money on a whole lot less than you make. It's crazy. So that's all I want to say to you guys. I hope you guys are having a great morning, day, evening, wherever you are. Please like, share, and subscribe to our video. We appreciate everything. And thank you for your views. Thank you for watching. And you guys have a great day. Until next time. Thank you.